Hello Dan, my name is Alison Board. Welcome to the SAA Constructive Critique Service. Thank you very much for sharing your painting with me today. This is fantastic, I love it. What a great moment in your son's life to capture on a painting. You've done some brilliant work. Portraits are notoriously difficult to do, and you've done some fantastic work on the skin tones around here. You've got a really good eye for shadows as well. His head is definitely sitting on his shoulders. It's quite easy to make heads look like they're floating in nothing, but you've really captured the shadows under here and especially under his hat. So you've asked for a little bit of my advice. I have a couple of things that I think you could improve on the painting. Texture in the background is a funny thing because texture, when you lay it down, it brings things forward. So the issue that you've got here, where the texture's all around the base of the figure, it's working really well because he really looks like he's consumed by the sand. But the trouble with the texture up here is because it's the same size mark that you've made, it's actually coming forward. So it makes the picture look a little flat. My suggestion would be that you kept everything that you've got going around here and then actually that you smoothed it out towards the top of the canvas. That way that part of your canvas would look like it's going off in the distance, and where you've got the texture here would look like it's coming into the foreground. Another issue that you've got, I'm guessing, but I'm thinking that maybe you painted the blue hat first and then you painted the colour on the texture afterwards, because you've got some little bits of colour overlapping on his hat here and here, and it makes again the texture look like it's coming into the foreground rather than the hat standing out. And also, because you've covered the canvas very thickly here, I can still see the canvas where his hat is, and that unfortunately is making his hat look like it's disappearing into the background rather than popping forward, which is unfortunate. I can see from your notes that you say that sadly you didn't know when to stop. And I understand what you mean by that, but the great thing about acrylic paints is that you can rectify any mistakes. So there's things that you can do to go back into this without having to worry about overworking it. I understand what you're saying about the eyes. I can see that you went to a lot of trouble to put detail in here and here. The only thing I would say is that they look slightly older eyes. Children of the age that your son is, and I think from your notes you say that he's 2 years old, they tend to have rounder eyes. So either the eyes that you were working from, and I'm assuming that you were working from a photograph, were that shape, but if they were that shape, they're probably just a little bit too big for the size of head that you've got here. Usually eyes are about an eye space apart, so this distance that's in here should be roughly the same as this distance here. And you've brought them out to the end, which is good because it looks like he's sort of squinting into the sunlight. But I think they could either do with being a little bit smaller or a little bit rounder. All of those things you can combat. You can either paint over the top of them with some more flesh tones, or if you feel that the texture of what you've already painted will come through, you can rub it down with a bit of fine sandpaper or a sandpaper block and then put them back in. All of those things can be changed. It's so fantastic, I just love it, and I can't stop smiling when I'm looking at it. So well done for all your hard work. Thank you very much for sharing it with me today, and I hope you enjoy painting in the future.